Women, what's a NSFW fun fact you wish more men knew? Story 1. Don't be afraid to put your body against ours. So many men have sex only through the genitals, with the rest of their body leaned away. A lot of men seem to think it's crushing us to put their body against us, but it really isn't. Almost all women like it when you have your chest and arms against us. Missionary is almost always better like this than like this. Story 2. What works for one woman might not work for another, could be only comes from penetration or nipple or clit stimulation, but rarely it's going to be the same. Ask what they like, be gentle and slow. Story 3. Please moan. It turns us on more than you know. Also, our clits aren't like joysticks. You don't have to press hard on it. Soft circular motions, as long as it's steady, will make us come in no time. Edit. Obviously, not all vaginas are the same, and some people like different things. Listen to your partner, the sounds, the breathing, etc. It will guide you. You can also just communicate with us, LOL, Story 4. We have thick, clear discharge, usually when we are ovulating. If your lady thinks she may have started her cycle early and comes back like, false alarm, that's usually what it is, and I'd suggest wearing a condom because her chances of getting pregnant are much higher. Also, vaginal discharge is so acidic that it can leave what looks like bleach stains on your underwear. If you ever see what looks like bleach stains on navy blue, dark blue, or black underwear, it is usually from the acidic vaginal discharge interacting with the fabric dye. Edit. Yes, you should always wear a condom to help prevent pregnancy. Sperm can survive up to 5 days in the woman's body. Story 5. When you go down, get into it. Lick it, suck, whatever, but please be into it. Don't be tickling the clit with the tip of your tongue like you don't really want to, but you're being forced. I'd rather you not go there at all if it's not your thing. Story 6. Whatever you do down there, don't be too fast and rub or lick like crazy. Take your time. Slow is way, way better. If she's pulling her pelvis back, then what you're doing is not good. When you lick for a while, insert 1 or 2 fingers. If you want to finger her, don't put your finger straight in. Rub a bit before, maybe kiss her neck in the meantime, and then slowly insert 1 finger. Before you meet a woman, cut and file your nails before it's going to happen. Make sure to have clean hands. Communication and consent is sexy. If possible, ask her before what she likes and what's a no-go. Same for dirty talk or things like choking or hair pulling. If she comes over, make sure your place, and especially you, are clean. Try stimulating her clit during sex. Story 7. For men or women, rhythm is everything. If your partner tells you they are close, don't speed up or slow down, cause 95% of the time it ruins the orgasm. However, if you can go deeper while holding the same rhythm, that can make it more enjoyable. Besides this, when fingering a woman, curl your fingers towards their stomach. Story 8. I can't speak for all women, but attraction is not the only important thing to get horny for most women. We need to be emotionally invested too. Make us feel safe, loved, show effort that you at least kind of care about us and not just about our tits. Story 9. I don't mind swallowing. What I do mind is your cum burning a hole in my tongue. Have a good diet. Fruits and veggies, and stay hydrated. If you live off of beer and Doritos, I'm not going to want to suck it at all. Same with women's vaginas. Good food and hydration. Everyone wins. Story 10. Period poops are a fun fact. Men imagine the worst upset stomach you have ever had. The cramps, the sweating, the red raw burning asshole from the explosive diarrhea. Women's hormones can cause that along with the bleeding, anywhere from 2-3 tablespoons to 1/3 of a cup. Crippling pain that can run from your belly down to your knees, headaches, extreme hunger, sore boobs, brain fog, and this lasts for anywhere from 4 to 9 days. Rough average. Also, those damn hormones take us on an emotional roller coaster. No, I don't know why I am crying because the big spoon got jammed in the drawer, but I am. Of course, it differs from woman to woman, and even from day to day in the cycle. But we are not playing when we say we feel awful during that time, and yet we are still expected to carry on as normal. Buy the chocolate or ice cream or Big Mac. Keep the heating pad on standby, and don't underestimate how much this sucks. Story 11. I don't know if these are fun facts, but I do wish more men were aware of them. And I just want to preface this by saying to all the men out there that this isn't meant to be a negative post against men. I know and love so many good men. This is more just things I've noticed or that have surprised me over the years that I just thought everyone knew. Often, turning a woman on has more to do with feeling emotionally safe and respected, and as if she's the sexiest woman on earth and you just desire her so much. It's more about building these feelings rather than how you touch her clit. I mean, that might help too, but it's not the deciding factor on how good the sex was. Pregnancy and birth can be excruciatingly painful. Her skeletal structure and internal organs are literally moved and shifted into different places. Imagine someone prying your hip bones apart slowly every day and then shoving a small watermelon up your ass. So when the doctor says she needs minimum 6 weeks of recovery/no sex, you listen and don't pester her. Help her with stuff, even if it's stuff she normally would do. Again, pregnancy and giving birth and then looking after a baby is extremely exhausting and emotional. I know it might look like she's sitting on the couch chilling while the baby breastfeeds, but breastfeeding actually increases hormones in her body that make her feel even more tired and hungry than she already is. Just try to remember that at any time you feel exhausted being a new dad, she's probably feeling that times 10, especially if she has had to return to work within the first year. Women have 3 holes in their genital area. One for poo, one for wee, one for babies, periods. I know this might sound weird to some of you, but I know of many men in some countries that do not know this. Porn is not real. You 100% need to ask your partner before you do anal, choke them, slap them, or any other stuff that's not basic missionary. Usually people in healthy relationships will talk about their limits and curiosities or fetishes or things they want to try. So I am not directing this at all, men. It's just something I think everyone should be more considerate about when they have a sexual partner. Periods are not something a woman can feel coming on or hold in. She also doesn't get to pick which days it happens. It's not like going to the toilet. It's literally like if you cut yourself and blood flows out, you can't hold it in. We can track the days it usually happens and notice the patterns so we can get a rough idea of when it will happen again and for how long. It's not always on time, and sometimes we can get a surprise early start. Biologically, a woman's body doesn't decide to abort a baby if she's been raped. It also doesn't decide to get pregnant. It's not a decision-making process that the body goes through to decide whether or not to allow sperm to enter the egg. Where this idea came from, I do not know, but it's wrong. In healthy men and women, women genetically have a higher body fat percentage. This has to do with evolutionary changes over time, and fat is also distributed differently in men's and women's bodies. Higher testosterone also makes it easier to lose fat and gain muscle. Higher estrogen is generally associated with voluptuous figures, big boobs and butt. Story 12. Birth control can really fuck up our bodies. Boys, honestly, everyone needs to be taught more about BC. Not just, oh, it prevents pregnancy, and leave it at that. They need to be taught that it also has side effects, heavy or less bleeding, or none at all, weight gain, possibility of cysts, etc. Some BC, like IUDs, can really hurt us when having sex, that they can get displaced, cause ectopic pregnancies, etc. That when it hurts, we are not lying, it hurts. That when a person says they've been bleeding for weeks straight and they don't want sex, it's because they're bleeding for weeks straight and aren't kidding about it. Men brush it off thinking it's excuses or say things like, well, why don't you just stop birth control or change it? But they're the same ones that when you tell them to get a vasectomy or wear a condom, it's suddenly controlling their body. It shouldn't be a NSFW topic, but it is because birth control can really fuck up our bodies. Some people are lucky and have hardly any side effects, while others suffer from bleeding, cysts, weight gain, low sex drive, displacement, complications when removed, complications when getting some BCs inserted, and more. Also, tampons or any feminine product. It's not embarrassing to buy them for us. We can't just stop the bleeding. We don't want to have periods, but they're natural. Stop calling women gross. Story 13. Please, for the love of all that is good, men, if you want penetrative vaginal sex, if you want a blowjob, then take a damn shower right before you do the deed. Ain't nobody want to smell or choke on your smelly cock and balls. Women's vaginas are very sensitive and sacred areas and should be treated with the utmost respect. So before you are allowed to enter her, you should at the very least be freshly showered and cleaned down there too. Too many guys out here thinking they can just be nasty ASF, sweaty, and not thoroughly cleaned down there before they have sex. And that's a big no-no. Don't give the woman a UTI. Clean under your nails whenever you wash your hands, and for the love of God, clip your nails smooth. Don't ever touch a woman's genitals if your hands and fingers ain't freshly washed and clean. That's also how women get UTIs, which are super inconvenient and painful ASF for women, and if not treated with antibiotics quickly enough, can lead to serious kidney infections. Last but not least, please, for the love of our Lord and Savior, JC, brush your teeth properly. Floss on a daily basis, clean your nasty tongues, take care of your tonsils. We do not want to smell your bad breath, and we sure as hell don't want remnants of whatever you just ate in our mouths or on our genitals. All that bacteria can, of course, contribute to form a UTI or other bacterial infections down there. Of course, it goes without saying that all these rules apply to women as well. Everybody should be practicing proper hygiene, oral hygiene, bodily hygiene, etc., before, during, and after sex. You're welcome. Story 14. Honestly, the advice in this thread sucks. I've come to realize that women think they are experts on all women. The truth is that women are also different in any single woman you talk to. You is only an expert on her own parts. Some women like the clip, barely tickled others, like it beat up to where you think you're hurting them. Beat up to where you think you're hurting them. Best advice here is to talk to your partner and ask her what she likes. Some women like a shit ton of foreplay. Other women are ready to go after a cast and just want you to throw it in there and be rough. Some women don't like anal, other women like anal more than vaginal. Best advice here is to talk to your partner and ask her what she likes. Women's preferences are way too diverse to cover with a single piece of advice. The stuff in this thread is really only going to apply. Women's preferences are way too diverse to cover with a single piece of advice. The stuff in this thread is really only going to apply to women who don't know about themselves because they haven't explored, which is actually really common. So maybe follow this advice if you're with a girl who needs help figuring things out, otherwise just ask. Story 15. Period blood isn't just blood. In fact, almost none of it is blood. It's tissue. It's an organ, ripping itself apart and falling out of our body. Monthly. And sometimes we squish the clots between our fingers in the shower just for fun. If you ask very nicely, your girlfriend would probably let you squish one too. Story 16. Lube is everyone's friend. Using lube doesn't mean she isn't turned on. Up to 20% of sexual encounters will result in the inability to achieve or maintain an erection. It is not embarrassing or anyone's fault. 70% to 90% of women are unable to achieve an orgasm through penetration alone. Story 17. Just listen and ask questions. While some things are generally true, I have met women who come from gently rubbing their nipples, and others that can't come except from jaw clenching, 30 minutes of oral vibrating, dildo plus a finger up their ass. Some like to be cherished, looked in the eyes and praised, and others like to be choked, spit on, and degraded. Ask, listen, and share vulnerability. Story 18. Sex is better for everyone if you pee before sex. So don't feel bad if you need to stop the foreplay to go pee. And don't feel weird if a girl gets up to go pee while it's getting hot and heavy. So much more comfortable for everyone if the bladder is empty. Story 19. Bigger isn't always better. The inside of a woman's vagina can vary in size just like penises, though there is significantly less research on that than the latter. Not every woman likes it when her cervix gets hit during sex. In fact, a lot of us don't. So Pelles ask, don't assume. Story 20. I'm not a woman, but I like this trick, and I've learned that most men don't know about it at all. Hold your hand down firmly in the space right above their pubic bone and go slow but hard. If you're doing it right, you'll be able to feel yourself moving inside, and it feels good for them because you'll be hitting the G-spot from the outside. Works with fingers too, if you curl them up. Story 21. You're aiming for the bottom of her vagina, not the back. Oral is to be done slowly to start with. Use sex toys. Find the right one. Small vibrators work best for me. Toys are your friend. Use your entire tongue. Suck her clit. Not hard, imagine it like a lollipop. Touch her clit softy and in circles. Not need for all these weird-ass tricks. Pull hair from the back, not the top. Stop trying to kill her whilst choking. She still likes to breathe. Your body on hers works. Stop pulling away. Moan. You like to hear her moan? it goes the same for her. Stop slapping her ass as hard as you can. Lay with her after. Stop getting up and going to do something else. Your PS5 can wait. Stop being shy. Story 22. Women are extremely varied in what they enjoy, how their parts are organized, and what it takes to get them there. The same woman also has varied preferences at different times. So listen to her when she tells you something that has worked before, whether with her or another partner, doesn't work for her now. I've had past partners rub way too hard too quickly and without enough lubrication on the clit, which is a tiny piece of real estate that has like 8,000 nerve endings. Ouch! Soft and wet, slowly building in intensity, is almost always way more enjoyable for me, and is always the best assumption to start with. Story 23. That being wet most oftentimes has zero to do with level of arousal. Women naturally produce cervical fluid all the time. Just like we produce moisture in our nose and mouth, it helps keep everything healthy and protected, and depending where we are in our cycle, there is more or less of it. It also changes consistency. Add in changes as we age, changes in diet, stress levels, etc., and most of the moisture down there has almost nothing to do with arousal levels. While many women do generate a little extra moisture when aroused, the vast majority of what is down there is just naturally there, regardless of our mood. Sometimes it's like a family of snails live down there. Other times it's as dry as a desert. Want to know if your partner is actually aroused? Ask them. Using the level of fluid present is about as accurate as sticking your finger in someone's mouth and using the moisture level to decide whether they are interested. The myth is harmful both to women who want to feel normal and are worried because the amount of fluid does not line up with their mental state, and men who want to satisfy their partner and end up using the wrong metrics to understand what's going on, not to mention all the she clearly wanted it issues.